What's up, guys? Today we're going to be making a bot that lives in your Instantly campaign. So no more having to go back and forth with Instantly to, book meetings, reply to emails, all those things. Some of them you will still have to do. It's not a full bot. It's not going to have full conversations with people, but that's by intention. We don't want it to have the full conversation. We want it to do three main things, of which it does very well. Thing one is going to be booking meetings. So if someone replies, hey, I'd love to meet at 1 p.m. on Tuesday, your bot can go back and say, okay, great. Let's meet then, responds to them, books the calendar for you, and you're good to go. So if you watched the last video, it's very similar to that, except this one's living in instantly. And the two other things that it does, well, there's three, but we'll focus on the two because they're the ones that actually are important, are going to be also send them a calendar booking link. So if someone doesn't specify a time, it'll send them a calendar booking link. And then lastly, if it's a question, right? If it's something else, then it'll basically take that information, forward it over to you, so you know to reply inside the Instantly campaign. And then lastly, if they're not, excuse me, drinking a bubbly drink over here. It's not affiliated. We're not sponsoring Pellegrino. But lastly, if they respond as not interested, then it's just going to put it into hey, like we're not touching this person intent classification is what we have it labeled as. And we're also looking at doing another fourth, fifth option. Either way, this last option, what it would do is I've been considering making videos to send to people about how the system works, what it does. And so if they want more information, they can respond and say, hey, I want more information, and maybe have something in an email that says, hey, if you want more information, just let me know. I can send you a quick video on how it works. And so then I could respond to them, send them the link automatically, very quickly, immediately. And in a nutshell, that's it. And the reason why we want this to be all done instantly is most importantly that if you have instantly forward the emails outside of instantly to your primary email so you can see them respond inside of that, what's going to happen is that instantly is going to stop tracking that. And so if it stops tracking that, you're going to lose touch with your KPIs, and potentially your follow-up campaign will not stop. And so you may have a full-fledged conversation with this person. You may have booked a meeting, and they're going to still get these emails that are obviously now not personalized and obviously just completely generic because you're sending them follow-up emails for something that you've already discussed, you've already booked a meeting with. Just a bad look. You could lose clients, you could lose the meeting. The person's just gonna think worse of you altogether. I mean, most people will probably be cool and be like, "Oh yeah, no, I get it. It's like a campaign. Like I get it, no problem." But any one, two, three, four meetings we lose from that kind of thing, especially at scale, that's slippage. We want to avoid that at all costs. And if we're using instantly, right, we might as well fully utilize it. So let's hop right into it, guys. This is the flow. If you watch the last video, you're gonna see that it is extremely similar to the first flow. And I'll walk you through and then I'll build it with you to show you how it's actually done. So first we start with the webhook, right? It's gonna webhook data as emails come in, as replies come in, it takes that. And then you're going to use a set node. I don't believe we used this in the last one, but in this one we do need a set node because in this one, what's fortunate for us is we can pull all the information on these leads off of instantly. So this campaign inherently just got to step up from only being developed inside of our Gmail. We got to step up. And so, we get timestamp, lead, workspace, campaign ID, Unibox, campaign name, email account, first, last, email ID, reply text, reply HTML, reply subject. Everything we need. That's everything we need. And then this is going to be really, I think it's exactly the same. I don't think I made any changes whatsoever, except for maybe switching a couple things around here that were instantly just to, normal email. And then, of course, we merge again. We're merging. So anytime you go through a GPT module, you got to merge it back. And then we have our two filters, right? One filter is for non-interested. One filter is for other. And then we have our two paths. Path one, the person said, yeah, I'm interested. Sounds good. Let's meet. GPT is going to come up with a response. It's going to go here. And then from there, it's going to filter out if And I just added this as like a quality life because a couple things that's going on here is, and I'm taking a step back here, so stay with me. Hopefully I don't lose you. But in an email chain, right? Every time they email, you're still going to get that response webhooked into here. And so, in the situations which a meeting has already been booked, right, already went down TruePath, or they sent a link, right? Because that's the other option. If they don't specify a time, we send a link. And in that situation, we don't want the AI to get confused. And so I built it into it. I trained it to say, hey, if you see in the past context that meeting was already booked, we're not going to try and book another meeting. We're just going to put it into the non-interested campaign. We're just going to leave it as is, let it lie. And so this also has basically some stoppage in it that, hey, if we sent them a calendar link, which may not get identified as a meeting booked, that it's going to stop right here. So the reason why, this not only just so they don't get doubled down, but also, and I actually got a little mixed up in my flow, I'm sorry, but this is actually not for some of those things I just said, but mostly I pulled this up a second ago. Sorry guys. We're just going stream of consciousness here. We're just going with it. So while I stay on track, so this filter node here is basically to stop it from creating an event in the calendar. Because this guy, this second GPT that's going to make dates, he's not going to know. He's going to see some times and he's going to assume I should probably book the meeting during those times. And then it's going to automatically book. And so this says, hey, we sent them a calendar link. We don't need to book a meeting. That's what that says. So excuse me, I got a little confused. I should probably clip that out, but I probably won't because, then I have to restart and it's going to be a weird clip. And I covered some good information there anyways. But nonetheless, they don't get the calendar link. If it's direct booking, it does filter just straight through. We pull their information from the Google Sheets as well, which is super cool. So we can go into our database, which is going to be, wherever you save yours. Mine is over here. Should be right here. My database is right here. So it can be like, oh, this is Jeffrey Mark of, assistant vice president, human resources of CS recruiting. Okay, great. We find this guy. We find Jeffrey Mark. And it's going to pull that information from Jeffrey Mark and I'll just rename this as well. Find person. And now what we can do with that, we can go here and we can say, okay, where does Jeffrey Mark live? Jeffrey Mark lives in Tennessee, Cookeville, Tennessee, United States. What time zone is Cookeville, Tennessee, United States in? And then it's going to find that person's time zone. So when we say 9 a.m., we don't send them a meeting for 9 a.m. our time when they're 9 a.m. EST. We send a meeting for 9 a.m. EST. So there's no conflict in scheduling there. And so we're using that location. We're using all the information we have on this person to make sure that we're booking in their time zone. Because remember, all these people in the Instantly campaign are people that we emailed, that we have all their information on. So does that, makes the event. And then we're going to the false path here. The false path is the other path, right? That's if they have a question, they need something else. So same thing here. We are going to find people. We're going to find person, I guess, not people. And then we're going to do the message to the model. The message to the model that's going to get us the output of like, hey, this is this person's name, email, the company they work for. This is what they want. And this is a summary of the conversation that we've had so far in Instantly. So you don't have to dig through the logs of Instantly and try to understand all that. And that way, you can do what you want with that, right? You can reply in Instantly. You can send them an email from your other email. But what this does is it sends the email to you. It forwards it to you. So you have it right there on the top of your inbox and you don't have to stay looking at Instantly all day. So that is the flow, guys. That's what's going on here. Now let's get down to business and let's build it out. So I'm going to start with a webhook. Just grab this one. And I'll just delete this one right now for purposes so that we don't get confused when the trigger happens. And then I'm going to do the edit fields. And then I'm going to build this real time with you guys. So I'm going to show you the struggles that happen when you're trying to build this. So one of them is you're going to have to use in the webhook, you're going to have to use the test URL to get this information. And so with edit fields, that's going to normalize the data. We need to pull that. First need to pull that information so we have something to map. And so I'm going to go over here, not Instagram, but Instantly. And I'm going to go here, settings, integrations, webhooks, and let's make a new one. And so now we go back to our workflow. And I think I already copied it, but just to make sure, boom, URL copied, paste it in here, apply received, test. And by the way, guys, now that I'm on N8N, Instantly, I do have a link for anybody who wants to get Instantly in my bio, in the thing. Or if you need a link, just comment below and I'll send you one. And so you can get Instantly. I think they pay me for like affiliate. So if you want to get through me, that'd be awesome. Doesn't cost you anything extra, but definitely gets me paid, which would be cool. Anyways, so I added the webhook here. You can see here that's the test webhook. And so when we send some information, when we get a reply from someone on our Instantly campaign, which I'm going to pause the video in a second here and replicate that so we can see it come in live. It's gonna hook it. I don't know, it's gonna grab it, whatever the right term is. This doesn't need to be post, by the way. So post, authentication none, response immediate, path. That's all fine. Any options? Sometimes I add response headers to be content dash type. And then I go application dash JSON because I do believe it comes in JSON format, just in case. But I don't believe you actually. I don't think it's imperative to have that. Nonetheless, be back, and for you guys it'll be 1 second. Okay, sweet. So I did some testing in the meantime, and I sent over the webhook and I sent a test message to one of my emails, and then I responded back. Okay, sounds good. You can see here. So in the webhook, you have webhooks right here. Then you're going to go to activity. And in activity, you'll see if your webhook was successful or not. And so for reference, you can see that the status 404 webhooks are the ones that didn't work. And the reason why those don't work is one, either it's the wrong URL, your campaign is not clicked to active, or you didn't click execute workflow. And you need to click execute workflow when you're using the test URL because otherwise it doesn't pick it up and you're going to get that 404 error, which I do practically every time and then I remember. So we're going to save this information. We're going to pin it. And then we can see here all of the different information we received. Now, to save us some time, I am going to just snag this edit fields because it's going to have everything we need here. And I'm going to delete this one. But what you do is you just drag or input the field here. For instance, let's go with this one. You name it whatever you want it to name, and then it has the thing you need right here. That's what I did for each of these. And so all the fields we need are going to be down here for the most part. And I'll just go through them real quick. That's going to be timestamp, lead email, workspace, campaign ID, Unibox URL. And so the campaign ID and the Unibox URL are especially important, especially the Unibox URL, because that's going to reply into the same thread as the message you got. Campaign name, email account. This is the email account that you're actually sending from. So this is the one that's going to also be very important because you're going to need to have this so you're applying from the same email account in the same thread. Then their first name, their last name, their email ID, the reply text and reply HTML, the reply subject. These three are also very important, at least the reply HTML and the reply subject. And then we can just execute this step. I'll pin this information and we can move on. So next comes to the ChatGPT. And so all we go here is you type in ChatGPT, you grab message model, and then you're going to do 4.1 mini. I find it works pretty well. And then you're just going to make the prompts. So for this, we want a system, we want an assistant, and we want two users. Assistant is going to be, or I'll start with system. System is going to be what my job is. What my job being the AI asking the question. It wants to know what it's supposed to do here. So the system refines its job. Example, helpful, intelligent, writing assistant. And I spell intelligent wrong every single time. Same with assistant. And then the prompt, the assistant, is going to be example output. So you just write some example output of what you want your output to look like. So it has something to go off of. The user is going to be its task, rules, and example format. And this one is going to be profile. In other words, information we're pulling from to get our response. And that's all that goes into it. And I already created one over here, so I'm just going to use the same one again because it takes some time to write out all these ChatGPT prompts and type it all up and whatnot, but I'll scroll through it so you guys can see. So system, you are helpful email writing assistant. Prompt, go to expression. So this one, I give 4 different assistant prompts. One is going to be interested, and so it just gives an example of what the interested strings look like. They reply, okay, sounds good. 9 works great. Our reply, great. I'll send you a Google Meets for Google Meets right now. Not interested. All you reply is not interested in the content .intent. Other, mark as OT. They reply, tell me more about your system, your response, and the content OT. Because we're using this as intent filters. And like our other videos, we're going to be using the child keys, which a lot of you are probably not familiar with child keys if you're new to this, or really even if you've been doing this for a while and haven't watched one of my previous videos. And so when you get ChatGPT outputs, you're going to get a parent key. And then under the parent key, you're going to get different outputs. The parent key is generally content. And typically it's just the parent key and it's just the content in that parent key. But sometimes it's helpful to have multiple different mappable items under that. So you can use one as like a subject. You can use one, in this case, as intent for the email receiving. And then you can also have the second one be the reply to that email. So you can mark intent on one side and reply on the other side. So it's not grouped together. You don't have to do any parsing. You don't have to do any things like that. And you don't have to use some tricky regex downstream to actually find out if, hey, is this an interested or non-interested person? Or use 2 ChatGPTs. So it's going to save you a whole bunch of time. I'll show you how to do that, so don't worry. Then let's go to the prompt as the task. So task, read this email chain coming in JSON format, use the context to decide whether it's interested, non-interested, or other, and have that as the content.intent child key. Then if interested, write a reply in the content.reply, which those are the child key names. So interested is going to be content.intent. And then for the reply, it's going to be content.reply. Those are going to be the mappable items. If you are if you read a meeting, it always fucks me up when it's the READ. It's like, come on, can we like make it all one word? Whatever. It's probably makes more sense for a programmer's mind. Do not attempt to book it again. Only reply with OT for the intent child.key. Essentially saying, hey, if we saw something was already booked and they just respond, yo, Jake, sounds awesome. Yeah, let's meet. Let's do that. Then we're not going to be double downing and having the AI read the past messages and get confused and try and book another meeting. Because then they'll be like, either what the heck is this guy talking about? We just booked a call, or they're going to be like, this is clearly an automated kind of system, and I no longer wish to talk to this automated system because everybody hates that. Sorry, I had to pause the video, guys. Looking back, so we were on tasks. We just went through tasks. Now we're on rules. So if they're interested and specify a time, send them a message along the lines of, okay, sounds good. I'll send a Google Meets for then. If the do not specify, if they, I did that before, do not specify a time, send a response like, okay, great. Here's a link to book a meeting on my calendar using this exact link, and then here's the link. And if not interested, respond only NI. If the reply falls into the other category, then the two listed respond with OT. No EM dashes at all. EM dashes, guys, are those things that ChatGPT likes to put in that are like giant hyphens. We all know them as dead giveaways of, hey, this was AI written, because to be honest, it's not on a keyboard. How the heck are you supposed to make that? It's kind of obvious. Right, so a 12-year-old can understand. That's what I always like to say. No more than 20 words. Use context in the past emails if relevant. If not, do not push for it and only stay generic. Put more weight on the most recent message date by date, 90% for newest, 10% for previous messages. So what that's going to help with is it's going to make sure that if you have older messages looking at different times and just talking through some stuff, and then they book a time, then it's not going to look at the old messages and trying to find like an old time. So it's going to make sure that it's looking at the newest message, putting a lot more weight on that, and that it's basically just not going to fuck up. Any reply other than asking to book a meeting is either other or not interested. You kind of have to double down on that because it does get confused. The content.intent could only be interested, NI, or OT. Nothing else is acceptable. Content.intent is our child key. The content.reply, which is our other child key, should contain our reply to their message. Example format, content, content.intent, content.reply. And then we have what's going into it. All we need is first name, email context, and I have text in HTML because who knows what ChatGPT likes better, really? Then let's give this a whirl. Content intent, interested, content to reply. Okay, great. Here's a link to book on my calendar. And then it just gives them a link. Perfect. That works perfectly. Now let's finish this up. So that's probably the hardest part, besides for the meeting booker dealio, where it's actually putting it. So we're going to get a merger. We're going to go combine. We're going to go position 2. And then we're just going to slap this guy into there. The reason why we do that, guys, is because if you don't do that, ChatGPT stops the flow of other data downstream. So you won't be able to access edit fields 2, which we will just rename and call it normalize. And then we're going to include an if node. And these ones, guys, I don't need to copy and paste, but just to show you, you basically just do message.content.intent. So we're going to fire off this merge node. We're also going to pin this. You can't pin merge node, so don't pin the merge node, okay, guys? It'll just fuck things up. And then let's see. It should be content.intent, interested, string is not equal to NI. And then we're going to make another if node. Content.intent is not equal to OT. So you see those two worked great. And now we're on this part right here. So first, we're going to make an HTTP request. And then in this HTTP request, we're going to have to put in all the information for the Instantly API. So you just go over here to the developer.instantly.api. You can just type in API docs for Instantly online. And then we can also, this will probably work. I haven't done the curl before with this one, but sometimes curl works, sometimes it kind of messes it up. So I'm going to do this URL, perfect. Oh wow, this is a good one. This is a little messed up. This is a little messed up. I'll show you how it's supposed to look because I have it in this one. Give me one. Just set a pause it so I'm not sharing my actual API key. So you just go like this. And then you can see here that we go to expression, EA account. That's the email account that you're actually sending from. Reply to UID is going to be the string, the email string or chain or thread, whatever you want to call it. Subject is obviously subject. Text is obviously the body of the email. And so we got that. And I'll include the API key. I'll generate a new one for this in a second. And then we go filter. And then for the filter, so you go up here, you can see the filter is going to be the json.body.html. So, and I can't pull it because it's all the way downstream and I can't execute this yet. But I'll just take it from this for right now. So json.body.html. And basically it's looking at the reply that we sent from here. And so if the reply we sent to the person that emailed us has the, well, I guess I have to copy and paste it, has the link to the calendar, then it's not going to push through to the rest of the flow. It's not going to book a meeting. If it doesn't have the link to the calendar, wait, did I do this right? Does not match regex. I didn't include that. Go here. Does not match regex. Basically, if that, like we were talking about before, if that link is not in there, then we know that this means that we need to actually book the meeting on the calendar with the AI. So we're also going to go to our spreadsheet, going to go Google Sheets. You're going to go get rows and sheet, choose from list. It's going to be this one. Database. And then we're going to add a filter and we're going to go, let's go with email. Email. And basically we're matching the emails here. So for this one, I sent the email to, and I'm going to have to add them to the sheet because this person is not in there. This is just my gamer email because I like to play games. So this is the email that I send all my game stuff to. And then for the next one, it's going to be the same thing. We get the ChatGPT 4.1 mini. You can see it right here, resource text. So we're going to just copy and paste this, and I'll just walk you through it so I don't waste your time with having to type it all up. But all this one is intended to do is it's intended to look at a time. Let's say the person said, okay, 9:30 a.m. works great. The only reason we need this is because we can't just extract that 9:30 a.m. and then turn it into a meeting with some other form. So we use the AI to output two child keys, one for the start time, one for the end time, which is very important because when we're talking about this create an event in the Google Calendars, we need a start and end time. Now, if you guys know how to make it so that the end time is just a specific time afterwards and we don't have to specifically type it in or include that, let me know. I would love to know that because then that would save me some ChatGPT credits and it would just be better altogether. Probably a lot, reduces risk of inaccuracy. So this makes the dates. So you normalize meetings, times, and produce strict JSON only. That's very important. This one has to be JSON. You detect time zones from the profile location, fallback to American-New York. Start time equals request time in the lead email. End time equals start time plus 30 minutes. Format timestamp as ISO 8601 with offset. So what this means is the ISO format is when you see a weird timestamp and it's like 2024, and I'm going to make this 2025 so it doesn't get confused. 0625 T0930, blah, blah, blah. And then this is the actual time zone. So this is going to be hour. This is going to be minute. This is going to be second, and this is going to be millisecond, if you guys are curious. And then task, return two JSON child key objects under the parent node, one child key for start time and one for end time. Rules, derive time zone from the location and format appropriately. Don't include other text or information outside of the format times. Output exactly two child keys under the parent. Assume the current month and year otherwise specified. For reference, today is, and then I put now, because ChatGPT 4.0 mini was made in, I think 24 or 23. And so for that, we need to specify that this is today. We are in the year 2025 of our Lord. People still say that. And so that way it sees, okay, today is now. It doesn't have to look on the web or try and figure something out. It just knows now is this. So example format, content, and then content dot start time, which, I haven't figured out yet if doing the quotes or not doing the quotes is better or worse. I read that it's better, but who knows? More tokens. And then compute the fields from. We're going to grab the JSON. We're going to grab the state and the country from, because that's all we need. We don't need to go to exact location, but state and country. We're going to grab that from the data we have in this. You see here with the state and the country. And then we're going to do lead message is going to be the actual message that we are sending to them. So it can read that and infer what time they booked from. So we got that going on. And then lastly, we're going to create an event in a calendar. So we're going to go Google Calendar, and I'll wrap this all in together soon enough, guys. Interesting. Hang on. I never noticed this. We might be able to do something here, guys. I'm gonna try something. It may work, it may not work. So I guess it doesn't really matter because I already programmed it to be in a certain way. But I wonder if I go like this, and then I go, was it 1 comma, whatever you call these things, apostrophe, hour, apostrophe, close brackets. Okay, hang on. Dot plus 1 hour. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try that out. Oh, select calendar. Yeah, totally. So my calendar. And I think that's all we had to do here. Oh, no, sorry. Attendees, description, summary. So let's go here. Attendees is going to be, the email here. And I'm going to have to remap these anyways because this is coming from a different one. So whatever. And then summary is actually the subject. So that's the subject. And I'll just put in this as and by the way, guys, you saw the description. The description is the body in the event calendar. So if you're doing this the right way, you're going to want to add some stuff in there. We're not going to add some stuff for today's purposes because we're just trying to fly through as quick as we can. I know I take an hour for every video anyways. But let's check this out. So attendees, and let's see. Whoops. Okay, good freaking deal. So the hard part's over. That was the most effort you're gonna have to do. We're in the home stretch now. And the last thing I have to do, and I'll just use the API key in here. I'm just gonna change it afterwards. So we could just use the same API key. It's totally fine. For your reference, guys, API keys can be found in here. And you just go integrations. Is it integrations? Oh, staring right at me. API keys. Yeah, that's where you go, obviously. API key. And yeah, all of this stuff is just built into what we get from the webhook. And so that's all you need. You just need the API key. And I'm going to change this after, guys, so don't try and steal my things. Um, cool. So let's get that. And I guess let's just send it through one time and see what happens. Should be good. Authorization failed. Give me 2 seconds. Okay, sorry guys, I got a phone call in the middle of that and I forgot where I left off. Yes, right here. So I figured out why I was getting no authorization. I put the wrong API key. So I just have to make a new one, made a new API key, like I showed you guys, you did in the Instantly API area. And then we can shoot this through the rest of the flow, which this is going to get blocked, right? Because there was a meeting that got a calendar link, right, to book on the calendar. And so that's not going to go through. So let me save this. I'm going to pause. I'm going to send another one that's going to be booking a time, and I'll show you how that works. Okay, real quick before I do that, here is the response that I got. Okay, great. Here's a link to book on my calendar. They click the link, and then of course it takes them to your bookings. Okay, here we go. We just received the email back for this guy to be like, okay, 9 sounds great. And so it stopped right here because of this, because we have new things in here. So I'm just going to pin this data. That should be fine. Just pin those 3. Let's see what we got for reply. So, okay, sounds good. I'll send Google Meets for 9 a.m. on Tuesday, because what my question was, actually, can you send me a calendar invite? 9 a.m. on Tuesday should work. So it saw that, read it, said, okay, great, we'll do that. And I should have gone, here it is. Okay, sounds good. I'll send a Google Meets for 9 a.m. on Tuesday. Don't know why my color here changed. That's weird. Either way. Now let's fix this up. So let's see. Got the information from this guy. It should be, I'm just going to go here, value. To address email. Pin this data. Execute. Oh, that's right. That's right. Hang on, guys. I need to add this guy, the Zungum, to my worksheet. Okay, great. I just added myself, or the Zungum, to the worksheet. So now I can find it and be like, okay, this is all the information about this guy that we pulled off Apollo. Obviously, this lead isn't actually from Apollo because I just made it. But it's going to get all this different information. So, you know, everything that you pull from Apollo, you will have here. And then you can use that in this one specifically. The JSON.state and location should be fine. California, United States. Lead message. That's what we need to update right there. Okay, so let's get this. So we go here and should be this should work. This should work. Let's see if there's any. No, that's not enough information. This should work. Execute step. There we go. Start end time. And remember, we're testing this one thing here that I just realized. So let's see if it works. Ah, yeah, no, it doesn't work. That's what I tried before. So I just snag that. Start time, end time, attendees is going to be from here to address. Name is going to be from, well, you can get this from there or from this thing right here. And so let's go for meeting for Jake Parent. And let's see the magic happen. So that should book it for this is booking for this Tuesday, which is fine. I'll fix that in a second. But nonetheless, I'll book it. Let's go to the calendar. There it is. Okay. So now let's look at fixing that one little error here. should be here. Specific day. If it's the current day, always assume that the next week's day. Example. Today is Tuesday. They request a meeting on Tuesday. Book for next Tuesday. That should work. 11:26. Perfect. Which should be, it's Wednesday. Hang on. Okay. There was a little bit of logic messed up in my thing. So one, I didn't specify where it's coming from. So this is called lead message. So I added two things here. One is use the lead message to determine the date they prefer. And then two, I put a little bit of logic in here that says never book meetings in the past, always assume the next applicable day. For example, if they request a meeting on Tuesday and today is Tuesday, book for the coming Tuesday. So that worked. Now we got the next coming Tuesday, and that should be perfectly fine now. And content at start time, content at end time. Now we're good. So execute this. Okay. And there you have it for the main part of the flow. The next part we're going to be looking at is the other category. And this is going to be sending you an email to update you on this person saying, hey, you know, you got a response. It's not a response to book a meeting. It's a response for something else. So it's going to be all right here. I'm just going to copy and paste this because we're really running low on time here. I'm trying to keep this thing under an hour, like all my videos, because our attention spans are very, very low. And if you've made it this far, definitely like and subscribe here. You know, you're in it for the long haul. I'd super appreciate that. You're going to get more videos like this, and I'm only getting better at doing these things. So you're only going to get better and better information from me. So this is going to come from, doesn't really matter where you come from, but this works. Merge. Yeah, that's fine. Column email, finds that person in the column email. And then here's the GPT. Forward summary. Your helpful coordinating and formatting assistant. Return an HTML. And that's important for this one because we like the formatting. If text does it say, return an HTML spaced appropriately for any easy and formatting system return HTML spaced appropriately for an easy read. Okay. Task, state client's name, email, company, and summarize the email chain. Call it summary. Restate client's most recent question, the latest question. Rules, full name, state of full name, email, state of email, state company, most recent email with question, summary of email string, no brackets, only content, keep the labels for each category. Example format, exactly as we above. And then let me just send another email with my trusty email. I'll just show you guys. Oh, I already showed you that. Never mind. Actually, I have a quick question. And here, I'll pause the video so you guys don't have to wait for it to load. All right, here we go. Okay, naturally, it stopped here because we don't have everything correctly input. So chase and reply. Message is going to be, we can just snag it from the merge here. And we'll go reply text is fine. Or, yeah, no, that's fine. Whoops. And the rest of this should be fine as well. That should be company name, everything. Yep, Jake, the Quantum Quantum Flow. Quantum Comma Flow? What's up with that? Doesn't matter. Okay. And let's generate here. Okay, great. Gets that in HTML format. And all of this should be already formatted. So this is just sending a message, guys. We haven't been through this one yet. I was sending it to my partner at first so we can see how it works, but we're going to go back to me. Check out quantumflowai.net. And append N8N attributions. Always get rid of this. So when they get an email back, or when you get an email, when anyone gets an email, you just get rid of that because no one wants that little stupid N8N attribution appended. And then so let's execute this step. Great. Now let's go to my email. Cool. So view this message and reply. Normally it actually bolds these fields, but it's fine that it didn't. Email, company, latest question. Actually, I have a quick question. What does the system cost? Summary, blah, blah, follow up with blah, blah. So there you have it, guys. That's the whole system, all in all. Now you have a system in your arsenal that can automatically book meetings, and we found a couple problems with it while I run through it, and that's part of what's helpful for me about making these videos. One, I give the content to you guys so you can use it for your own excuse me, hiccups, for your own purposes, but also I get to refine it, right? Teaching is the best way to learn. And so this is a system you can automatically book, you can automatically forward, you can automatically send messages. As we evolve the system, I'm going to create a database for an AI agent that's going to be able to understand what my product is, how I speak, all things like that. And it's going to be able to have a full conversation with these people. So you can send emails at a massive scale and still have full conversations with these people. And if you do it right, they won't know the difference between you and an AI agent. So that's it for today, guys. Hopefully you found this informational, educational, whatever it may be. If you enjoyed this video, if you got something from it, I'd super appreciate a like and even more so a subscribe. I'm going to be giving away some content to my subscribers of like good workflows, best practices, things like that. So if you want to see more content like this, you want to see how these workflows evolve, how, my own outreach is evolving and how I'm going to give that to you guys so you can use it for yourself, follow along. Anyways, that's it for today, guys. Have a good one.